Hello, and welcome to Tradespotting. Of all the times we've meant to sit down and write a letter, of all the occasions we've had the thought to be kind, but lacked the effort within the time. For all those moments we can never recover, where no refrain will heal the pain. For all the crimes done against us that mark our very DNA, we have our answer. We have our train. We float on a vacuum. We tear through resistance. We break records. We break walls. We break the hedges, and we'll break the chains that bind us, just as today we broke 200 again. The dead will never die. The past will never be their lie. And we will rip and tear the heart of anybody who stands against us. For we are the Doomslayers, and we will never go hungry again. GME for breakfast, GME for lunch, GME for dinner, GME for forever. Price is $200.90. We're up 9% today. It looks like we're turning the ship around. We stood on the deck together as the swell was rising. We raised the sails and turned the ship to the eye of the storm. As we groaned against the weight of anxious men, as the fat drummers smashed the drums with all their heart, as the chill wind cut into our very bonds with each other, we held. Now, as we return, as we master ourselves, as you come to realize that we are that rising tide reaching for the moon, claim your freedoms long forgotten. Fight the broken systems that want you to drown. Build the wave that will overcome them. Ask each other, what will you do next? And scream in each other's faces, we are the storm! We want more! We want more! We want more! Daily time frame. We don't fight resistance here. We are the resistance. We float with the tide and we float along our rails. Should it be that prices retrace to those areas where we ourselves have spotted a bad mudder, then we'll go with them and we'll come back as they rise, because we are the sea and we have enveloped this market. This is our asset. So we closed at $200, spot 9% on the day, a low of 182, spot 05, and a high of 208, spot 57. Let's take away the drawings. We can see, as we talked about here together, a number of different indicators performing to our benefit and lighting the path ahead. On the daily time frame, we can see this formation of 3 positive candles that's taken us above the 50-period moving average and outside the top Bollinger Band, even with the retrace on the move and the close above $200. That came after a significant test of the 200-period moving average on the daily time frame. Doomslayers know that that's a perfectly good trend check. Thank you so much, Daniel Kim, $20. That's amazing. RDR King Jamie is appreciated. Cheers, Daniel. And earlier, thank you very much, Dan. I noticed you put one in. It goes to Dan. And we say from Dan, why is GME not hurting me? I can only feel pleasure when GME hurts me. I have replaced my nipple clamps. I have not needed them in so long. Why GME? Why? Numb to those pleasures of normal men. This is the way. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks everybody who supports the channel. It's so appreciated. Had the best ever week last week. Incredible support. Like, to know how much that whole thing meant to me. Thanks to everybody who's ever helped me get to where I am. It's so appreciated. So yeah, here's the TA for today. You've got a number of indicators that confirm that we're on the right path. Let's start with price action itself, because although GME is the king, price action is the king. Here you are above the top Bollinger Band on the daily time frame, above your 50 period moving average, which is above your 200. They've both got a positive slope, a positive splay, and price action above them both. You've went through your center line. You're touching the top of your bullish control zone at the minute. You've broken above previous important horizontals on a wick. You've reached them on your body close. You've got a clearly dominant trend to the upside, as represented by Rocket Crop's DMI, where you've also got a positive slope on the ADX, it coming from the perfect area to add volatility value to your trades. Then you've got a positive cross on the MACD, that coming through at the same time as you had your test of your 200 period moving average is the perfect signal. Drop down to the 4-hour time frame and you can see more of the same story, especially with the DMI, that being a confirmation of your trend. It's a very important confirmation, brilliant indicator, the most important one on this screen, the best one I've ever used in my life. Above it, the RSI, it says the same thing as it does in the daily time frame, yet here you've also broken into that bullish control zone and persisted within it. Boom. Thanks so very, very much. What was that one? Fly by High Enjoy, $25 super chat. See you on the moon, Jamie. See you on the moon, buddy. So we're all right here reaching for it together. On this time frame, other positive news is the confirmation of that momentum that we've been talking about for a while coming through here. You've also got that signal pushing you through the 200 period moving average. If we get our 50 above the 200, that speaks more positively to the long-term trend, and we may have that come in along with a test, which speaks to retest areas and that bad mudder. But having broken a resistance at 200 and touched this area once, that has weakened it, regardless of where price action then goes next. And it is natural to expect retraces to confirm trends. On different time frames, that'll look like different things. On the daily, the 200 is very good. On the 4-hour, we've got positive confirmation. We just need to see how that evolves over time, because another thing you're looking at here is a potential doji candle at the top of this move. Does that speak to an area below for where people to put their orders? And I'll get there in a moment. As we now drop down at the hourly time frame, here's that building momentum to the top side. The positive nature of this trend and its persistence is writ large on the Rocket Crop DMI. My internet was stopped disconnecting and reconnecting. I can show you that was down at this area here on the chart. So I'll turn the drawings back on. You can see it's below a number of areas of horizontal resistance, and as the things flash up, you can see at this area we have a gap, and that will act quite magnetic should prices slip back down again, though there are reasons why you would be caught. It would be the bottom side of this Bollinger Band. It would be a higher low. It would be at the time you'd want to check in, but you would see that likely your Rocket Crops DMI says that that positive trend is still persisting despite what recent retraces might be telling you. You'll have a reading on your RSI, which if it's above the center line will be positive. You have this positive cross coming in between the 50 and the 200 period moving average on that 1-hour time frame. All these things speak to caution, and I would tell you as my friends to bear them in mind, because that is the nature of our movement and us as a rising tide. The waves come and we're building a really, really big one. Down to 30 minutes, and we'll talk about what price action did today and go some quick lessons. Bear with me, because I haven't done this with myself. Of course, I've been very busy. So come in and start it today. Is here. We have these drawings on. We'll leave them and talk about them just before we kick off. We can see that we had our 200 period test on the 30-minute time frame. At that point, we tested it twice, confirmed here that there was positive momentum to the top side. Though a touch of caution, you can see that the positive trend was winning and was starting to reach itself into significant levels, and our RSI had confirmed a touch of the center line and broken above its own moving average, aiming for the bullish control zone and then some. You've got above your 236, that's taken you all the way up to your 786, had a retrace to the golden pocket, opened and closed there, persisted above the 0.5, so your trend from a Fibonacci sequence point of view is still on. And you would then expect tests of higher levels. At this point, you're looking at the 886 and thinking, we defeat this. You look left to see where's the next horizontal level above 185. And it's straight up to 188 in terms of a body close, and then 190 in terms of a wick. Top Bollinger Band at that point, look left. Your horizontal comes in with a wick high at 192. In terms of your Fibonacci's, you'd be in the middle of no man's land, so you might expect some further action. Up here, you're looking to the 3.414, the 3618, and what else do we find? A GME line. Perhaps the most reliable indicator you're ever likely to find. And if you don't believe me, you can check it all out. It's all live on the internet. Here we go. I can find the play button, that is. And we're off. Boom. There you go. Straight up. Hit the 618, second extension of it. You got your wick right up to the top targets there. Your body closes at the top level of resistance. Price action went quite quickly. All one direction. All very positive. Croc, new member. Buddy, member of the family for a while here. Below us now you can see this 191.85. You've got the basis line of the Bollinger Bands here. You're likely going to test that basis line even if this trend persists in its most aggressive style. You've had a cross of your positive kind with your 50 taking the lead above the 200 here. You've got an awful lot of good things to speak about on that MACD, though it's unusual to see it so extended for so long, but that speaks to very positive things. Testing the center of our overall formation when we go back up to these higher time frames here. This harmonic looks lovely. These moves look fantastic. This is a classic way this pattern plays out. Everything that everybody who's been following us along and has put trust and faith in Rocky and I, we hope we're repaying you. But it's for others to decide. And here you have this close above 200. We are in this formation that we've spoken about a number of times now with the downward sloping supply line that comes through at various different levels. You may or may not want to draw it. The ones that I draw are where price action tends to go. So, you know, get behind me or get the fuck out of my way. It's hard in my language. I meant to not swear this episode. Mind you, I didn't quite swear there. I did say fuck. So you look at that and you'll think, well, where do we go above it? It's all about breaking this zone, and it is a liquidity zone. It is a horizontal level of resistance. We're interesting with regards to this pattern itself. It shows up on the weekly time frame, and so I'd give it some credence. And when you get here and look at price action, you can see that we're in the center of this formation. You know, we're on a log chart here, aren't we? Yes, thank goodness. Obviously, really. And so you can see you're above the center of this, which means that most commonly, most people will look back at most periods of this time and say, when I was buying, I did a good thing. I was making the right decision. And, you know, as long as if that's your question, then you're unlikely to be wrong for a long, long time. Right, so what does that speak to in other things? Well, we've talked about it a while, this test of the RSI, the formation we're putting in. It's not there on a weekly, but you have to go through your time frames. Here's on daily, you can see the wedges, you can see the retests. We talked about it, we laid it out in so many different ways. Rocky and I even, and you know, you don't need to be a genius to work out the pattern of Rocky and I's joint videos and where they've come on charts and the messages we've put across. Nor do you have to have a very inquiring mind to understand our motivations for doing it. And I'm so glad it's helping the right people. Love you guys. Right, so that's what we're looking at. Everything's very positive. You probably felt that in your bones. Thanks for those messages and supportive donations. It's all desperately appreciated. Cheers. And then what else will we look at? Then we'll have a quick look over here at AMC, and we can say here, daily time frame up 4.81%. Not bad, not bad. About half as good as GME. Though, if you were to think about this formation, and you do look at it on a log chart, and you can see, well, AMC, it's in it around its levels of support. That's very positive. It's in a very, very fantastic move. It's going places. It's not going there quite as fast as GME is doing its moves. And this has incredible potential in terms of moves. Like, the levels above are 41, 44. Above that, it's up to 45. Then you're looking at 50. Then you're looking at 52, 55, 57, 60. Anywhere above 55, you're really thinking about moves all the way up to 72 and testing at 82 again. And that's what it looks like is happening, even if you're on the bearish side, because you're in this bearish harmonic that's got a D up at around your previous highs or above. If you take the full extension, it doesn't have to get exactly to it. There is margin for error, and as such, all eyes are looking upwards. Even apparently Citadel, who are long on AMC, as distasteful as that may sound, your own trades are yours to manage. I'm only here to tell you the truth, and I am a direct line to the truth with no agenda whatsoever other than that which you yourself share. So here we are looking at on the daily time frame, and you can see not quite yet got a positive signal here. You're looking for a cross to come through on that, and maybe perhaps the positive inflection that you're seeing with a upward slope on the DI positive on Rocky's version of this particular trend check, with these 3 lower lows or thereabouts on the RSI, certainly divergent from how we've seen on price action. You can see this push may then result in a move this week in one of these Fibonacci levels. When we look left, and we can see the most relevant one here is at around $52, 51.64 or thereabouts. You look left horizontally, you see it's also the B point of this harmonic. It's the 1618 extension of the Fibonacci that you're in at the minute. I'd say it's the most dominant one for current technical trading, but then, you know, what do I know? 4 hours down to the 4-hour time frame. You've got a flash in DMI. I wonder if that's played out. Interesting discussion point there in the comments. Hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Imagine I got like half the people that watch this video hit like. That would be such a quite possibly could be life changing. You know, that it is. The channel would so benefit from that kind of engagement level. Like, so would. Right. So you've got this also slightly different factor here, right? You're below the center line of your RSI. That's not as positive. Below, you have got the early signal given by DMI. You've got a flash that came in here that suggests that the price action is going to return up to around $44. Has that already happened? You know, the new version of the Rocky Outcrop indicator is going to give you a much clearer picture of that, along with some other extra information. Definitely check them out. youtube.com/Rocky Outcrop. That's the best advice I can ever give anyone. Perhaps even trumps the previous suggestion, which was the MACD, though that itself only speaks to 41.44, as in your 200 period moving average likely catches any move that does result from a positive signal just on the indicator alone without any confirmation. And my confirmation that I use, along with about 85 billion other things, is where is price action in relation to the 200 period moving average on the daily time frame, on the same daily time frame, on the same time frame at which you're getting the signal on your indicator. So that's your 4 hour that says that maybe, though you've got a test here of your central line of your RSI, that comes in at also trying to recapture not just your 50 period moving average, which itself has a negative splay between it and the 200, which isn't great. It's also, as you're trying to get back above a horizontal level, you're trying to recapture the 236 on a Fibonacci, and you're trying to break back into an upward sloping demand line that may ultimately turn out to be supply. So it's not all actually decided. Even when you drop down to the 4 hour, you're not necessarily seeing that strength that you'd like. You have got a measured move here from a wedge that price action was in. You've come out of it, tested a previous Fibonacci, come back down, tested a 50 period moving average and a breakout zone. This is why we talked about this as the buy zone. This is why AMC can make you money. Here's your Fibonacci you're in at the minute, the 618, the area I would think if this what I was most recently talking about there. That measured move breaks the golden pocket and goes on to the full extension. You're looking up again at 44, but the stop off between it is again in at around 41, 44. So that's why your levels on AMC, despite the fact that other people will tell you other things, their heads either in their arse, or they're only trying to make some distinction between me and everything else I say, because that's where all the truth actually comes from nowadays. I've looked around, I know it's the truth, I'm sick of it, and I'm going to start calling people out, and I'm really going to destroy them when I do too. And here you've got another example of the levels, right? They're 41, 44. They're 44. They're up there above at 55, and then they're up at 72, 80 bucks, right? That's the answer. Here's your 200 period moving average. You want to get above that. That's up at 38, 30 something. Before you get there, you can't really ask anything else about it. Then let's ask that about it. On the 30-minute time frame, you've got a flash. Maybe that's what you're getting here, a retrace to test that area, get that 50 period properly tested. You've gone through the measured move of this actual smaller level within this smaller pattern that we did talk about. So that's done all that, and despite that price action not feeling as amazing if you're looking at it compared to GME, if you were just looking at it on its own, that's a magnificent day really, and it is reflected on the shorter term time frame with this sustained move on the RSI, and like a perfectly good explanation why you would have a return here to these levels on price action based on what the DMI, like Rocket Group is screaming that at you, and it's also saying that it'll all be fine because you've got your ADX pointing up, and you've got the dominant trend being your DI positive. The momentum, similar to your RSI, mirror each other there. Tiny little dip, but mostly a linear progression, which is likely to break horizontal levels. And that hitting previous support, that which was so strong, and having been so much higher so recently, makes this a really easy call. So then there's people that don't just take my stuff, but there's people even worse who are out there telling you that this stuff doesn't work when it's only here to make you money. Like, nobody invented TA for any other reason. Like, that's it, to make other people money and they themselves money. And the people who do it the best, like me, generally speaking, don't tell you the way it works, because why the fuck should they? You know, pardon me, I nearly swore again, but again, it was FUP. So that's your AMC TA. Good news, everybody's happy. What else has happened today? Probably lots of other fantastic stuff. I could talk about big moves that we've called recently. What would they be? For some reason, we were talking about Loop Ring. I mean, you know as well as I do why it was an interesting move. That move, let's look at it on the daily time frame. You've got a position in here somewhere. I know. There's a position in here somewhere I drew out. Where are you, buddy? It's a long and a short. Where is the long? Where are you? Where are you? Anyway, here's your targets. Look at that, right? I mean, right, look at these targets, right? Ping. I could have spent twice as long today doing something that would likely get me hundreds of thousands of subscribers over time, make the channel massive, focus on a totally different thing. But I know the answer to change everybody's lives is GME. You can change them individually by trading the other things that I talk about. There's Loop Ring, there's the targets. And it's not financial advice, but is there anyone who's ever helped you more recently in life, right? Is there? What else is up recently? Well, we talked about the chances of, if you were going to look into Super League gaming, here's your 200 period moving average test. That all coming in one day is pretty nice. OCGN stuff that's been going on recently. Look at these trades that we've been talking about. Look how much money is potentially being made for people. We had a discussion recently about DOT. Look at these levels that it's breaking that we've drawn on the charts and helping you manage them up here, you know. I mean, I'm just going through things that you guys have asked me about recently. You're getting these retests, you know. I don't just call like, oh, look, here's how you'll get something that's already, long before it happens. I'm talking about entries. There's ESPR. SOFI, look at this, coming to the top of that formation, breaking out of it. Here's your golden pocket and going through it. You know, look at the entries you're getting on that with your Bollinger Band tracing it all the way up. Look at the money, look at the lessons, look at the value. Hit the like button, you know, right? That's just me clicking, literally just clicking some fucking random request tabs that people have asked me about. And sometimes they've chucked a couple of quid. Often it's for free. There is no obligation. Speaking about that, I have definitely done a job. The week has only started, and that is freaking good. Good content. Good content. And my lines don't come 12 times rehearsed. I speak 'em like such. GME forever! Support me on Patreon. www.patreon.com/Tradespotting. If you do any donations, the best way to do them is out with the super chat function, but using either the Stream Elements PayPal link or the crypto donations function, which other people have been doing amazingly. Amazing appreciation. Though if you are inclined to help me in any way whatsoever, it's desperately appreciated and should only come after you've helped everybody who's already liked you and loved you and supported you and everything else that you've ever done in life up till now. And only after then do you ever need to say thanks to me, and you don't ever need to. And the fact that you spent time with me or ever clicked the like button was more than I can really ask from anybody, because I don't do this directly for any one individual, but because it helps people and that helps me. So if it is anyone that I'm doing it for, at the end of the day, it really is me. And that you all give me company and spend your time here and make decisions and spend time with me. It's really appreciated. Every second of it. Thanks. Thanks, J1 Super Chat. Thanks, JS, for $20 Super Chat. Go for it, Doomslayer, absolute legend. 19.99 Super Chat. Spot 346. If you're not watching Tradespotting or Rock Outcrop Daily, you're doing it wrong. Thank you and Crackrock earlier, we can't remember. I know some people find the conversation distasteful, but you know, the same people will glorify working for free. And perhaps, you know, other narratives that tie into those stories that our enemies would love to put against us. That includes suggestions that we're here for the glory, but you as a Doomslayer know in your heart that you're here for the gore. And get those front row seats at Rocky Outcrop and Tradespotting. What could make a better video? What could do justice to the time more? How could I land more punches with the same impact over the next few minutes? I don't know if I justifiably could. How can I get more pressure in per square inch? At this point, I don't think I can. It would only be staying on to take your adulations and collect those donations I referenced, and that's not really what the show's about. Thanks so much for that one coming in from Dink. So to say thanks was all I'm really here to do every day. Thank you so much. I absolutely love yous. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow at Tadpole Games. Yes!